You may have noticed there's a whole lot in the news right now about some curious stuff going on in the Biden family. Some might even say illegal or maybe even impeachable offenses. But if you go through the timeline of all of the issues that have sort of built up to where we are right now, one key event in Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son's life, seems to be the center of a whole lot of the investigations. It sort of legitimized the investigation into Hunter Biden, and that was a purchase of a firearm he probably should have never purchased in the first place, that he likely lied about when he made that purchase. So what was going on there in his life when he bought that firearm? Why did he buy the firearm at all? Well, the good folks at the Washington Free Beacon have actually done an incredible unloading of the evidence at hand, and they've laid out the timeline here. The article that I'm talking about is published. It's called Inside the Whirlwind, 48 Hours Before Hunter Biden Bought His Handgun. There's Hunter right there with his cousin, actually, Caroline Biden. The authors of this piece, Joseph Simonson and Andrew Kerr, did a great job, and Andrew joins us now. Andrew, great work on this. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Larry.
I thought it would be educational to sort of walk through this. First of all, this is actually proceeding now to potential criminal charges against Hunter Biden. I read somewhere that his lawyers are going to plead his Second Amendment rights to own this gun, which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. So the issue here is in October of 2018, Hunter Biden purchased a gun, and in the gun application form, he reported that he was not a user of illegal drugs.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that we're looking at here is, in the days leading up to Hunter purchasing this gun, was he using illicit substances?
Yeah.
And clues from the hard drive strongly indicate, that he was. And so we looked into the 2 days leading up to this gun purchase, and just the variety of things that Hunter Biden was up to, just this two-day span of his life is pretty fascinating. Just all the, he arranged a deal.
I'll say.
With, it's just
let's lay this out. The actual purchase was made on October 12th, right? And we already know the New York Post has shown a picture of him laying in bed asleep with a crack pipe hanging out of his mouth on October 8th. So that'd be 4 days before the gun purchase. And again, a question on the federal form is, do you use illegal illicit drugs? So, I mean, it's circumstantial, but it seems like that's a pretty good thread to pull on. All right, so let's go to October 10th. You've got an email from Wells Fargo, the bank that handles his credit card. Let's take a look at that email. His card is overbalanced. I mean, we all have moments like that, but it's above the $65,000 limit. And why is this significant?
Well, I mean, it just shows that he was being hounded for money. And this wasn't the only notice that he got for funds. Around the same time, he got a note from his accountant saying that, like, hey, you've got a huge tax bill in your hand, hundreds of thousands, $600,000 personal and $200,000 for his business.
Right.
So, and we'll get into is that he's being hounded for credit card debt and huge amounts of back taxes, but he's also sending thousands of dollars to his friends and to his family and to his daughter, and also spending likely hundreds of dollars on drugs with a drug dealer saved in his phone as Q.
Yeah, let's look at this exchange, this text message exchange, where someone who first identifies themselves as Junior or JR wants him to come and meet him at a 7-Eleven. First he says, I'm the one you met at 7-Eleven. Then Hunter checks in with him on the 10th and says, can you meet me at the 7-Eleven? And then he starts referring to himself as Q. Now, just to be clear, there's no indication that this is the infamous Q from the QAnon conspiracies, is there, Andrew?
Right. We don't have evidence linking QAnon to Hunter Biden's Q. They appear to be different people.
Different Qs. Could be the Q from the Star Trek The Next Generation series. We don't know. But it's an odd exchange. By the way, the person who is Q, he texts with a period after every word. Did you notice that? Is there any indication as to why that is?
Right. My belief of that is because he actually texts Hunter with two different phone numbers. So because Q says that he lost his phone and he starts texting with this period in between his phone numbers, and then he texts Hunter with another phone number writing in that same format.
Yeah.
And so my belief is just that that's a call out to
All right.
let Hunter know that this is the same guy.
So this is after midnight on October 11th now, and Q and Hunter are trying to arrange a meeting at a 7-Eleven. My dad always told me that nothing good happens at a 7-Eleven after midnight unless you're on the road and you just need to use the bathroom. Do we have any indication as to what they were doing at 7-Eleven?
No, but we did identify who Q was using the phone number and referencing the content in the message. And this person has a lengthy criminal rap sheet, including drug possession. So, so it's a strong assumption that this is probably an illicit drug deal. Like
Okay.
he said, like what good ever happens at a 7-Eleven. And just a few hours after they agreed to meet at 3:30 at the 7-Eleven, Hunter Biden withdraws $800 cash from a Wells Fargo ATM in Delaware. Again, that just
Right.
adds circumstantial evidence that that this may have been a illicit drug deal.
$800 was needed for something cash, and let's take a look at that receipt. By the way, available balance $9,000, while he's over $65,000 on the limit on the credit card. You'd think he could handle that. So now this is a email from Bill Morgan, subject line tax returns. What's relevant about this?
Right. So this is Hunter's attorney saying that, hey, you've got $600,000 personal, $200,000 for your business, Owasco PC. And what I find really interesting about this is that it indicates that Hunter Biden was classifying receipts as loans, and it looked like the accountant was confused, like, hey, can you clarify like why you're indicating that this income was loans, because with loans you don't pay taxes on them.
Yeah.
And we know that Hunter, fast forward to last year, Hunter is with the help of his sugar daddy attorney, Kevin Morris, is paying off $2 million worth of back taxes. So like, where does this $2 million in back taxes come from? Could it be related to income that he made around the 2019 timeframe that we're looking at? That's what we find that important. And it happens just around this time that he purchases this gun.
Yeah. This is interesting because, and also, by the way, Burisma is noted in this email. That, of course, is the infamous Ukrainian oil company that was paying him over $80,000 a month. We still don't know what he was doing for that. And there's some, I mean, I don't know what the concern is, but something about these events led him to, as he said, on a whim, purchase a 38 caliber handgun.
Right. Yeah. And the New York Times reported about this instance that Hunter believed that he was sober at the time, which is kind of a bizarre thing to say. Like, I believe that I was not high on crack cocaine when I purchased this gun. And again, it all just goes back to, did Hunter Biden lie on this gun application form that he wasn't a user of narcotics? And it certainly appears that he was. And Hunter Biden's lawyers have floated to the press that they're going to leverage a novel legal theory, citing a Supreme Court case from last year, that they're going to try to use a Second Amendment argument to wiggle their way out of this. We'll see if Hunter Biden somehow turns into like a pro Second Amendment use case here. But
that would be amazing. By the way, right after this purchase, Hallie Biden had a text exchange with Hunter. She was expressing her concern about the fact that he had a gun. He had purchased a gun, and in the text messages, he replied and said something like, "You now have me as an abusive pedophile with homicidal tendencies, and that's now in the hands of the FBI." We've only got about 20 seconds, but can you, what exactly is he talking about there?
Right, so Hunter had this gun for all of about 2 weeks, and his drug use and the fact that he had a gun really freaked out Hallie Biden. So she went into his car, took the gun, and disposed of it in a trash can outside of a high school.
Yeah.
And Hunter had a nuclear meltdown after that happened because the police were called, and it was a whole thing, but nobody was charged as part of the incident. I reported at the Washington Examiner last year that the police actually determined Hunter to be the victim in that case because she went into his car. But
we gotta leave it there. Andrew Kerr, great stuff at Washington Free Beacon, and I just want to point out they're the only journalistic endeavor actually investigating this. That's weird. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.